Hello there, miscreants and misfits. How you doing? And welcome back to another AIMBOT. We're at it again, doing some, as Top Tester says, some consensual judging. Absolutely, absolutely. Hello to everybody out there. And if you are here new for the first time, what are we doing? We are applying some morality to Reddit posts who have requested we judge whether they're in the right or in the wrong. And I want to know what you think. So we're going to be going through these Reddit posts now, just to mention first off, and why is my camera so high? Hold on a sec. That's a lot better. So before I get into this, I will say I don't curate these. I haven't selected them. I'm just going to open it up and see as they take us. So we'll see what they have to say. Before we do get into it, though, I do want to give a big sort of I want to shout out and sort of just I want to raise some attention for the bushfires in California. I probably don't have to. It has been huge news, but just to sort of put it in perspective, sort of around 10,000 homes have burnt down. So that is sort of tens of thousands of people homeless, as it were. I do know that California is a relatively well-off state, but they will probably desperately need assistance on this one. So I'm going to throw up a charity list, and sort of I do want to talk, and it's been on my mind. I'm going to have a little rant, so sorry about that. About sort of the people in government, notably Republicans, sort of blaming California for this tragedy kind of thing. It's really disgusting. It's really horrible. They're sort of saying to California, well, unless you change your policies, you won't get aid and things like that. I think that's absolutely horrible. That's absolutely reprehensible. They need assistance, and the thing is, you know, and I think it has been pointed out by various sources, but I do remember a whole bunch of hurricanes and things over in the sort of red states, the Republican states, and other tragedies over there that, you know, the government came through on and acted quickly to help them out. I mean, Florida sort of, you know, has all kinds of random things going on, tornadoes going on, hurricanes going on. But, you know, it's really horrible to see a government use something like this for political purposes, to say, hey, we've got to change your policies, or else we're not going to give you aid. And this is, you know, this may be people that don't even agree with the Democrats' policies, you know, like just making them suffer in order to you know, force their state government into doing something is utterly reprehensible. From our side of things, there's Australian firefighters on standby if it gets any worse. Unfortunately, we're in bushfire season, so we've got to watch our own fires at the moment. There was a bit of a large one a couple of months ago, but we managed to get it under control and knocked out. But this is, and you know, we don't have to sort of guess at sort of where why this is happening. We don't have to sort of make guesses. The scientists predicted this a long time ago. Scientists really did absolutely predict this. Now, these fires. So Pacific Palisades is absolutely gutted. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely gutted. So they're basically saying that there's a Santa Ana winds that come over a topographic barrier, like a mountain range. They're basically, we have the same thing happen in Australia, and we could easily be in the same boat as the Californians here. So it's absolutely, we understand what it is. And we're not that prepared either, we have to admit. So there's a problem here, and we've known about global warming for a while, and scientists have been predicting this for a long, long, long while. It's absolutely predictable. It happened, and but I just want to point out, as I was sort of researching this, I was reading something by David Bowman. He's a professor of pyrogeography. I don't know about you, but that is the most badass title I've ever heard in my entire life. A professor of pyrogeography and fire science at the University of Tasmania. Where do I go to be a professor of pyrogeography and fire science? I mean, damn. Could you imagine that? Yeah, pyrogeography. You imagine that you're in a bar, you talk to a guy, what's your job? Oh, I'm a professor of pyrogeography and fire science. Imagine all the pickup lines involving heat you could make. It's incredible. Like, look, David Bowman, I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to say about that. Professor David Bowman, director of the Transdisciplinary Fire Center. So, we kind of wow. Yeah, no, this is a real guy. Mm. Hang on a sec. I got to show you a picture of the guy too. Look, this guy, he is the most badass man I've ever seen in my entire life. Look at this guy. As like fire goes on in the background. This is a man, yeah, Austin. This is a man who hit his prestige class, mate. This is a man who hit his damn prestige class. Yeah, professor of pyrogeography and fire science. Wow. Okay. What a badass dude. Oh, I'm a professor of pyrogeography and fire science. I'm just watching some fire at the moment. What a guy. And of course, experts like him are saying, hey, it's global warming. We all know it's global warming. And yeah, so big shout out for the thing. I think I'm going to pin that comment if I can find it. It's just a list of charities that are supporting the LA residents in their sort of their thing. So if you do want to give, please feel free. I won't stop you. I probably should have done a charity stream or something. If I was more organized, I would. Anyway, PhD in Prometheus. I love it. Yeah. Well, what a guy. Yeah. All right, but let's get to some moral judgments here. And don't worry, we're not just judging people out of the blue. These are solicited and consensual moral judging. And so I'll just get organized here, get this up. But yeah, I really dislike the Republican response to this one. It's just every time there's a hurricane, it's people jumping into action. Every time there's something happens in one of these liberal states, it's it must be their fault. It's not right. Like so we all know the adult thing to do when there's an emergency, right? We're all aware of this. You point fingers later, right? And this is the right thing to do. Like it's pointless to stand around and point fingers while people need help. That's usually what we're doing. Trump went on to Fox News, because of course he did, and blamed them not accepting water from the north or some ridiculous thing like that. It's so stupid. He's just making stuff up. Like this isn't a thing that California's not accepting water from the north. I don't know what nobody knows what he's talking about. Like, nobody knows. And sort of, he's like, oh, they're going to blame us again. It's like, well, look, no one's blaming you for the state of the environment, like global warming, right? No one's blaming Trump. This has been a problem for ages. No one's blaming anybody for it, right? It's all of us together. Like, it's humanity in general. Like, we're to blame. Everybody's to blame. But at the same time, it's our responsibility to do something. And DEI is responsible. I don't know how you would even spin that to be true, Robin. If you're unaware, DEI is a hiring practice, which is diversity, equity, and inclusivity, which, to be honest with you, just sounds like good practice to me. Like, sort of diversify your workforce. It's a good idea anyway. Anyway, I don't know. It's really weird, but yeah, I don't know how you would blame. It's really weird. It's really weird. But there are people fleeing the fire. So, hey, hang in there. Listen to the government, do what they tell you. If you can, if your local leader is reluctant to send aid, maybe shoot them an email or just do something to kick them up the arse, because this is a natural disaster and we don't stand around and blame people for natural disasters when people need help. Are you joking? I hope you're joking. I really hope you're joking, because that's insane. That's insane. I know lesbians are hot, but they're not that hot. Like, seriously, how is what? Yeah, it's weird. It's very, very weird. That's weird. That's just odd. Look, it doesn't matter who's to blame. It doesn't matter. That's the thing. Like, when you have a national emergency, it doesn't matter. Point fingers later. Do your politics later. Help people first. It even goes back to my work. Like, when you have something crashes, servers go down, the internet's not work. You don't stand around and find out who's to blame. That is a waste of time. It's important, but it's a waste of time. What you do is fix stuff first. Don't put energy into trying to find out who's to blame. Nobody wants to hear it. It's please go and do something else, like help people first. You fix it first. Yeah, finding out what the problem is really important. Heard a guy yesterday proclaiming that the firefighters of Lele didn't do anything. Oh, you know what? If I doubt that, fireys, and we call them fireys, Deviant. Fireys are they will do stuff, and it's not like, until you actually see these fires, like, I think that sometimes, Deviant, and not you, but people that have never lived in a fire-prone area have no idea what these things can be like. Like, these things can be like, wildfires are insane. We call them bushfires. You guys call them wildfires. Same thing. It's insane. And these guys, they go in and try and fight them. They did run out of water as well, which was not a great situation. We can start looking at that. How do we keep a reservoir? How do we shut off areas of water so we don't lose pressure from pipes? We can look at all of this, but now's not the time, right? We're not going to change that right now. It's important to look at it, but not right now. Right now, it's for helping people. That's it. But yeah, like, literally doing nothing. No, of course they didn't. I don't know. I don't know, Austin. I don't know, mate. I thank you, but I'm not sure about that one, mate. Mm, absolutely, absolutely. And so we have people studying it. We have people experienced in it. It's amazing how people want to sit on the sidelines and say, "Oh, well, the firefighters could have done this. The firefighters could have done that. The firefighters could have done this, that, the other." It's like you're not there and in it. It is insanely dangerous. Firefighters die all the time. It's not, yeah. Oh, you are in SoCal? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I did mention the Santa Ana winds coming over. Yeah, it's a horrendous situation for fires, and the fact that this is sort of winter is horrifying. Quite frankly, horrifying. I'm worried over here, and I was talking with Lynn, um, and I'm worried, and she's worried that we're gonna our fire season's gonna start late and be an absolute shocker. But anyway, if you can help the people of California, please do. Um, what's also upsetting is how much that California gives to the budget and how little they're sort of getting in support. Um, it kind of it's kind of I mean, I get why, but at the same time, that they need help now, right? Like they're never complaining about how much they put in when there's hurricanes going through Florida, or Texas is being hit by a massive hurricane or flooding or whatever it is. Yeah. Oh yeah. I hope. Oh wow. I hope you're safe and your family's safe. Uh Wow. Yeah, no, that's frightening. That's frightening. Keep safe. Keep your eye on the fire evacuation things. I don't know. Does California have fire bans? We have total fire bans basically between you can't burn stuff basically. You're not allowed to burn stuff. Um, Total fire bans at some points because we've been through this and it is horrific. But onto the aimbot. Um, yeah, yeah, and that's my worry as well, that the fire insurance won't pay out, kind of thing. That is horrible, horrible. Yeah, keep safe. Keep an eye on the reports and advice. If they say evacuate, please do. I know it's hard, but please do take care of yourself. We can build another house. We can't build another God equals the square root of -1. You're more important. But you know, all the best. And if you can spare anything, please do, for the people in California, because it's not all millionaires and stuff. There's a lot of ordinary people who have lost everything. Uh, why? God sent the fire in the first place, didn't he? Didn't God send the fire in the first place? Like, why could he just not send the fire? That might have been an idea. Uh, you know, what? Like, so what moral lesson does this teach us exactly? Yeah. Yeah. So, mhm. Great. Was this sort of God demonstrating free will, maybe? God demonstrating free will? Oh, you don't think psychopaths exist? Interesting. Oh, I see. That's interesting because we can identify them by their actual brain patterns. Like neurology can actually identify them, because they lack mirror neurons, which is fascinating stuff. Like mirror neurons is fascinating. Um, oh, really? Really? Oh, that's interesting. Very rarely do I meet geniuses that outright declare it. You know, mostly geniuses will just say, "Yeah, I try my best" or whatever. Yeah, no, yeah, no, I don't care what you accept. It's just we have people specialized in studying the brain, and yeah, psychopaths are definitely a thing because they lack any sense of empathy for their fellow human being. It's very strange talking to them about how you would feel in a sort of situation. Like, how would you feel if it was you that this fire happened to? They literally do not understand what you're talking about. It's a fascinating condition because they will not understand. They cannot use empathy. It's actually incredible, like actually incredible. So they only will sort of try to perform at empathy, like, oh, that must be terrible, but they don't actually feel anything in that situation. um I have this theory, a game theory. No, it's not a game theory, it's really not. So I have this theory that um that the theory is that a psychopath would absolutely don't care about reaction videos, right? So we have the huge increase in reaction videos, and I like some reaction videos. I got to admit it. I got to admit it. I absolutely love um reaction videos of just points in movies, right? Like Interstellar is one. I love that scene where he misses out on all that stuff, and I really feel what they're feeling. Like, you can never watch something again for the first time, but seeing somebody react for the first time is absolutely incredible. It's this feeling that you get of the same feeling. And I wonder if a psychopath would just go, what's the point of watching that? Like, that they wouldn't be able to feel what that person is feeling, because that literally is empathy. They would just say, well, it's not me, why would I care what they're feeling? Because they don't get that. And that's why reaction videos are so popular. They're hugely popular. um so I think that psychopaths would not be able to feel that sense of empathy. Now, what's very interesting, because I am on the autism spectrum, is people think that autistic people have no sense of empathy, which is actually wrong. It's not that autistic people do not have a sense of empathy. They absolutely do. Their ability to pick up on the social cues that tell what other people are feeling is limited. However, what they can do is they can analyze, and if they do understand what you're feeling, they do feel empathy for it. It is the communication of those feelings that is the problem, not just not just um, a lack of empathy inherent. Now, there is something called the double empathy test that they did, which was basically getting a whole bunch of neurotypical people to communicate and a whole bunch of neurodivergent people, a whole bunch of autistic people to communicate. Um, so um, basically, what happens is that the people who are neurodivergent, the autistic people, can actually communicate between themselves absolutely fine, absolutely fine. And in fact, they can communicate more efficiently than neurotypical people, which is incredible. But it's not that they lack empathy, they just may lack the ability to pick up on the emotions being communicated by neurotypical people. It's very important to understand. Um, so yeah, it's very, very strange. The person still knew they were doing wrong. You don't. Okay, I'd like to see you demonstrate that. So yeah, I think a problem at the moment is sort of, I mean, that's my understanding from being a neurodivergent person. That's my understanding from it. but I would never pretend to be a psychologist or neurologist or anything like it. This is all just my understandings of it from a layperson's. But it's very weird to hear somebody say, hey, psychopathy doesn't exist when, you know, clearly it does. We can study it. We've done like tons of studies on it. Oh, yeah, hooligan. Hello, my friend, member for 15 months. Happy 2025. You too, buddy. I've got to catch up with you as well to start another thing. I've really been slack on my gaming channel. I do have a gaming channel. I've been really slack on it. Excuse me, I've got to start it up again. I've been trying to do a video on something that is in the works. So I really do apologize, people. Like Tops has been on my gaming channel for ages, and the guy's a champ. So I really do apologize for not being there. But thank you so much, Justin. Civ 7. You know what? I could go some Civ 7. Yes, absolutely. Let's create societies. Yes, absolutely. I'm there. I'm right there. I'm there for it. I'm on board. Maybe we can get more people, you know, have a mass civilization thing. Awesome. As long as I get to play Australia. Look, Australia best country. Australia best country. Okay, so first off, am I the asshole for declining to fix the errors I made in a blanket I crocheted for someone and taking it back instead? Why would you take back a gift? That sounds weird, to say the least. That sounds odd. Fix the errors you made in a blanket crocheted. So they got a blanket from you, said, hey, this has errors in it. You need to fix. To be honest with you, the first thing I would say is no, that's artistic license. I would absolutely say that's artistic license. The errors are artistic license, basically. You know. Artistic license. That the errors are there by thing. They're not errors. As Bob Ross says, there are no errors. There are only happy mistakes. So you took it back if they don't want the gift. Did you agree to fix them and not return it? If the errors was a name spelled wrong, though, look, yeah, it's artistic license. That's a good point, Justin. That's actually a good point. That's a good point. That's embarrassing. You know what? If I got that blanket and my name was spelled right, I probably wouldn't even bring it up. It really doesn't matter, you know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I land on it's a gift. I wouldn't return a gift for any reason. It's a gift. You know, this obsession with finding the right gift for me. If this gift doesn't suit me, then look, it's you know, parents always say it's the thought that counts. That matters. Yes, I do believe that. It is that they've, like, someone has crocheted you a blanket. They haven't gone to the shops and bought you a pair of underwear or something. They've crocheted a blanket. That is someone really putting in time for you. I probably wouldn't return it no matter what. Anyway, okay. I made a blanket for my sister-in-law, Amanda. I was able to give it to her last weekend. She'd asked for it in certain colors. I didn't have any other projects on my to-do list, so I was happy to make it for her. Okay. So was this, did she pay for it? Was this just a gift? She asked for it in certain colors ahead of time. Okay. I had most of the colors already, so it worked out. Already too, so it worked out. When I gave it to her, she was excited and started to look it over. I figured it was to see how it was put together since she doesn't crochet. After a little bit, she said she loved the blanket, but, oh, okay. She couldn't help but notice some of the little mistakes I'd made along the way. I'd asked her what she meant. She pointed out that some things, like I'd accidentally done one row of striping instead of 3 for one section. I'd switched to the wrong color and threw off a pattern at some point. What? She handed it back to me and told me she loves my progress with it and couldn't wait to see the finished project. Wow. Okay. Wow. I told her that it was finished. She looked down at it and said that it wasn't done until it was perfect, and I'd made several mistakes I could easily go back to correct. I don't think that, like, correcting mistakes in a crocheted blanket is easy work. That's what? 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 I I was honestly dumbfounded by this. I hate the way perfectionists try to force their quirk onto others. Well, I wouldn't look at it that way. I made this blanket for free out of so it's free, yeah, free out of my own free time because I love her. I told her that. She says she knows and she loves me for it, but she wouldn't be able to use it because she wouldn't be able to focus on anything but the mistakes. I said whatever and took the blanket back and said if she doesn't want it, I'll keep it. She looks surprised and says that she does want it. She just wants my best work and not something half-assed. I told her if she thinks me crocheting a whole fucking blanket and making minimal errors is half-assing it, I'd rather just keep the blanket. What is with these people? She's so upset with me and told me I was acting ridiculous and that wouldn't take me long to fix it. If you know anything about crocheting, you know that if I made an error on row 36 of row 1115 row blanket, it's essentially starting over again. Yeah, I don't think it's that easy to fix. I don't think it's easy to fix. So yeah, I to be honest with you, I think she should have said, "Hey, the blanket's yours. Do whatever you want with it." But I get why she took it back. I don't think she did anything wrong here because um, like she put in so much work, and somebody just basically goes, "Well, I don't like your effort." And stuff like that, things would never be perfect. Maybe she's really good at crocheting and the person is trying to sort of um get some unique thing out of her. I don't know. I don't know. Um I I don't know why this person is so, like, is she on selling it or something? I don't know why you would expect, like, she's sitting there going, "Well, it's not your best work," and then saying, "Well, that's my best work." So I see what she's saying about perfectionism, right? Like, I think that um so some of these things, like, especially when you're doing stuff like coding, for instance, right? So um um I'm gonna throw up the poll, but so a lot of the time when I was in university, we would do coding, and the question was, when is the coding complete? Right? When is it done? Because you would have a time constraint, of course. Um, well, Robin, Robin. It's fine if they want to talk about things. Like, if they're just talking about things, that's totally fine. Preaching is where people are saying stuff with no expectation of response, kind of thing. And I don't think Maverick's doing that. I don't think so. But that's okay. I get you. Maverick, if you can just engage a bit more, that would be appreciated, mate. Instead of just throwing out claims, maybe back them up a little bit more would be fantastic. But I really don't mind as long as you're engaging in an honest way. That's totally fine. But yeah, we don't so just so you know, mate, we don't tolerate preaching in the chat, which is basically just telling people about your religion without actually having a conversation or backing it up in any way. So just be aware of that. But I think you're okay at the moment. But yeah, no problem. Fantastic. So I'd love to know what you think as well. Um, okay, and we will get to, where was I? But thanks, Robin. I really appreciate it. I guess that, it definitely was one of those borderline things. I totally get where you're coming from. I really do. Oh, Odin? Look, Andrew, if you're unaware, we're already in Woden's Day. It is Woden's Day. It definitely is. Well, you know what? It might not be Woden's Day where you are. I got to be honest with you. Oh, hello, Perps. So good to see you. But yeah, it is Woden's Day today. And I was told by a source if we use the word associated with God, then we have to believe in that God. I was told that by Lupin, who was apparently an excellent source on the matter. So yes, apparently we already do. Hello, Purple. So good to see you. I hope your holidays were fantastic. Hoping New Year's went well. I don't think I've seen you. I think I saw you once, maybe on the damn network. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. That's a terrible syllogism. That's horrible. No. That's you've mistaken there. That should read if nihilism is true. If, and in fact, it has to be if moral nihilism is true. That doesn't follow. Your premise one is incorrect. You're thinking of moral nihilism. It's actually my Beck. How are you doing? Good to see you, Beck. Beck. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Perps. Oh, you ate that much? I mean, I know Christmas we eat a lot, but dang, girl. Wow. No, I'm joking. I hope you did okay. Yeah, that sucks. Get well soon, please. Not true. Yeah, not true. You're thinking of moral nihilism, not atheism. You can't tie that in. But anyway, because we're going to be using secular humanism. Yeah, I hope it went well. Rest up. Take care. Where was I? Oh yeah, let's see what the Redditors say about this little debacle. Where's my there we go. Let's see. Owls and Cardinals, you aren't being ridiculous. She definitely was. Super, not the arsehole. She might have been missing. There is no fixing error like you described in crochet. You either start over or pull out stitches back to the point of error to resume from there. Yeah, I guess you could make that clear, but it sounds like another one of those part of your natural train. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's fantastic. Congratulations. So good. So I guess you could explain that kind of thing would be better than sort of dingo, but she couldn't be the gracious recipient of a heartfelt, thoughtful, homemade gift and shows something about her. If she cries perfection, that's pretty incompatible with homemade, not to mention super dismissive and presumptuous of her not to prioritize the hard work and hours that went to making it. Yeah, and like I was saying about coding, there is no point at which you're finished. Like, it can always be better. It can always be more efficient. It can always sort of thing. It's finished when you are done with it, like that you feel like you're done with it. That's when it's finished. So there is something in psychology called unrelenting standards, right? Where we demand of ourselves way more than we can emotionally provide or that we ought to provide. And it becomes detrimental for our own well-being because we basically demand these things out of ourselves that are not, that are unhealthy to provide, that we demand all of this perfection. Some people call it perfectionism. It is more correctly categorized as unrelenting standards because the whole thing about it is that you never reach that goal ever. It doesn't matter. Even if she had done the best job ever. I don't think she would have reached the standard that her sister wanted. Was it her sister? Yeah, sister-in-law wanted. Given she's a member of your family and you probably don't want a long-term rift, I would hold my ground but try to diffuse it. Just explain repeatedly if necessary. It's too bad your gift didn't work out, but no hard feelings. Do not feel forced to start again or fix the blanket anyway. Do not try and create drama or judgment over it for her. Believe me, her response to this whole thing stands alone, and don't offer to make her anything in the future, that's for sure. By no hard feelings, want to clarify and focus primarily how I suggest the OP express her feelings to others in the family for the purposes of peacemaking. My personal take is that sister-in-law action standalone if OP keeps it unemotional and that doesn't engage any back and forth about it, that would be best. I would certainly be offended by sister-in-law's words and behavior, though. Yeah, I get what this person's saying. Yeah, so, but at the end of the day, it kind of is trying to distance yourself from other people's demands and their standards is probably a good idea. If you don't feel, if you have a boundary for it, you just say, look, it's a gift, either take it or don't take it. Yes, Greg, you are testing and you have passed the test, apparently, for some reason, which means that I have not banned you yet. So when you're giving a gift, right, you give a gift and they say, oh, I wish it was this, I wish it was that. It's kind of, you can, yeah, no problems, Greg. I've been there, mate. I've been there, like, totally. For some reason, I got banned off Bad Science Sunday. Now, I'm really good friends with Maya and Vandy, who run Bad Science Sunday over on Maya's channel. For some reason, I'm banned. I don't know why. That was the weirdest banning ever because I've never said anything in the chat that could be construed as terrible. But oh, hello, Larry. How you doing, mate? As terrible. Never, ever. I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah. But when you give somebody a gift and they react in a bad way, now we've got to understand, and it hurts. It really does. If you've put that much effort into something, or even just gone and said, hey, I'm going to try to give you a gift, and someone goes, oh, it's not that very good. It kind of, to myself, I try not to take it personally. I'm just like, well, like and I've mentioned this before, I'm terrible at buying gifts. I'm terrible. It's not that I don't care. It's not that I don't want to be better. It's just that I'm a person on the spectrum and I have a hard time understanding people to buy them gifts. It's something about me. So if people go, well, this isn't what I want, I'm like, totally understand, no problem, throw it away, give it back. But if somebody says, hey, you've got to change what you're giving for me, I would say, well, it's a gift. Take it, don't take it. It's up to you. It's a gift freely given. If you don't want it, that's fine. I understand you don't want it. That's cool. That's totally fine. I'm not going to get offended, but I'm also not going to go out and change what I'm doing for you. I don't see that as something that's going to happen. That kind of sucks, though. But yeah, it's sort of having that, well, so it's sort of having that knowledge that you can't change what other people are doing, right? You can't change how your sister-in-law reacts to a gift, but you can change what you're doing. And instead of having to convince her that she needs to accept this gift because it's the right thing to do, etc., you don't have to do that. You can just say, hey, it's a gift. If you don't want it, throw it out. Doesn't bother me. Like, it is a gift. Here you are. But I get that she's like really emotionally entangled in this. I probably would be too if I'd spent hours and hours crocheting something, I knit. I don't know why. I just find that funny. I knit. That entire sentence is just I knit. That defines me as a person. I am the blonde knitter. Like, why? Okay. I knit very well. I know an error made in row 12 isn't fixable unless I undo everything and above row 12 and reknit. It's obviously impossible. Yeah, so it sounds like she doesn't Give it to her with great excitement, gush how much you're looking to spend time crocheting with her, and how thrilled you'll be when she can match you stitch for stitch. Yeah, I don't think they have that kind of relationship, to be honest with you. Not the asshole one. I really admire anyone that can crochet. Okay, so the knitters look up to the crocheters. I've learned something new today. I definitely learned something new today. Yeah, no, I get that, Perps. I really do. That's horrible. But I think that when confronted with that kind of, well, you should live up to my expectations, it's a lot easier said than done. Like I absolutely admit that it's not easy at all. But to say, hey, I don't have to live up to your expectations. It's a gift. You can take it or leave it. It's totally cool. That is really what you're looking for, right? Like, so we talk a lot about the different modes we can go into, and it's really easy to fall into that petulant child. Like, why are you rejecting my gift? I spent so much time on it, kind of thing. It's really easy to, and I totally get that. It's just we want to try to look at the healthy adult and say, hey, you were going to do it anyway. Whether she accepts it, it sucks. I get it. It really sucks. But that's where you go, okay, well, I'm not going to be making any more, um, you know, put my time into this because the reward is not worth it. If they're going to demand something better, then I'll put my time into something more constructive, and but you can't change what's happened, and you can't change a person's reaction. You just can't. So wasting that energy trying to change their reaction, it's a waste of energy. It really is. And that's a lot easier said than done. I totally get that. But trying to change someone's reaction to something that'll never happen. Ditto Head Forever says, you're not the arsehole. She is rude, ungrateful arsehole. She looks surprised and says she does want it. She just wants to be best work and not something half-assed. Wow, I would tell her to take a flying leap. She can pay someone to make her one and find out real fast what your effort was worth in money. Or she could learn to crochet and find out how hard it is to make a blanket. Yeah, do it yourself if you don't like it. Yeah. But it's kind of hard, right? Because they're being really horrible, and you're trying not to be, but it's your sister-in-law, so you don't want that family drama. And I think sometimes some members of family, they will sort of they will prey on people not wanting to cause drama in the family. But the question is it the right thing to do? Like, no, because all that's going to happen is you're going to have either A, resentment build up, or B, a lot of people not thinking of you very well. It is it is detrimental to what you are trying to achieve, because your family will not like you. I don't know why anybody would do it. Oh, hello, Jay. So good to see you. Okay. Yeah, I think that sort of when we're looking at sort of consequentialism, well, and sort of utilitarianism, if your aim is to have the family thinking of you well, or the support of your family, doing this stuff is not going to get you to that goal. Not going to get you to that goal. So, Frank, how many atheist communities have you been in, mate? How many exactly? How many exactly? Wow, there's some blanket statements in there. Real blanket statements. Yeah. Yep. Oh, look, Look, Frank, if you know anybody that wants to debate me on morality, I would love to do that. That would be something I would absolutely love. But apparently, all of the theists seem to have gotten a bit shy when it comes to me. They generally don't want to debate me anymore. I've had multiple people pull out. So if you think that your thinking is superior, have a debate and bring up your ideas and hold them up to scrutiny. And if you do know theists that think that they have a superior morality to atheists, then by all means, I'm here. I'm ready to debate. And my email address is on my page. Debate away. Debate away. Ember, member for 20 months. Thank you so much, Ember. Look, Ems is one of my best friends, one of an awesome person, a really good member of the community. So don't let trolls derail your morality monorail. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't generally go in for challenging people directly. I kind of feel weird about it. I know you sort of have to if you are going to do debate on the internet, human girl, but I generally don't do that too much. I think though people that sort of will want to talk and say, "Hey, my ideas are superior to this person," but will not actually enter into debate to say, "Hey, here are my ideas to contrast against yours." I think there's something wrong there because they want an echo chamber. They don't want an opposing opinion for their view. I think that being able to go in and say, hey, I'm going to put up my opposing opinion and discuss it and present all of the, benefits and all of the positives for it and be able to deal with all of the negatives raised. I think that is sort of showing that you actually sort of, have a place. But I do want to do more debate. I really do, really do. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that is a shocker of a place. By the way, Praise won't debate me. He is a coward. He says he will, then he pulls out. This is what theists are doing now. They just I remember somebody else, some big guy said, "Oh, I'm not even going to deal with atheists anymore. I'm not even going to talk to them anymore." And it's like, yeah, this is just putting your head in the sand. No religion is the fastest growing demographic in most Western countries now. So it's not something that's going to go away. It's not. Like Christianity, tons of people are leaving. That's what's happening. You're welcome, Robin, and thank you so much for the 50 month. Oh, that reminds me. Let's give out some readerships for all of the true believers in the chat. It's the only thing Praise ever pulled. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I found out it was a common theme, Jay, that Praise gets into all of these. He says, "Oh, I'll debate you." But like talking to him about doing another debate, I'm like, well, let's debate evolution, and then we can debate slavery in the Bible. Like, getting a couple of them because he wanted to sort of really talk big on sort of slavery in the Bible kind of topic. And he wanted to talk big about evolution, but I've found from other people that he does just, run when actually getting closer. This is a common theme with him. So yeah. Who's hit? Who's gonna be it? God is square root of -1 definitely is. Like, I did a California thing earlier. I pinned in the chat a list of charities. So, yeah, I was talking about that earlier. And if you can help, please do. I know. Oh, Jay, hey Jay. All right, we have Cheese Chopper, Krynonia, Andrew Gorshin, and Jay Bassick. There you go, Jay. And Hunter Biden's laptop. I hit two J's. I hit two J's. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. So, winner, chicken dinner. Please enjoy your emotes and other benefits. You know what? I love Midwestern people. I think they're awesome, Jedi. Midwesterners, like, they are the friendliest, nicest people. I swear, they are awesome. Absolutely awesome. I've loved every Midwesterner I've ever met. Like, seriously. Here's the thing. I actually like US people. I find their I find their optimism, their belief in principle to be really good. Like, I really like it. Look, your government is terrible and your systems are terrible, but you know, I do like US people. I find them really awesome people. You know, no lie, I do. They're a bit loud, but hey, Australians are a bit loud as well, so I can't blame them for that. Now you mention that, Purple, and I did want to talk about this, but I didn't know who I would irritate. A Greens politician in Canada has fired back on that annexing Canada to be the 51st state, saying, California, why don't you become the 11th province? Because, and she pointed out that, hey, you want you want to have universal free healthcare. Canada already has it. You want stricter gun controls. Canada already has it. You want the right birthing policies. Canada already has it. It has everything that you want, and you wouldn't be denied assistance when your state goes up in fire. Just a few little things. So the model is I think it's Oregon. I'm not big on American states. I think it's Oregon, Washington, California, and it's called Cascadia, which is a badass name, to be honest with you. Cascadia, that's pretty baller. So, think about it, America. You don't like Californians anyway. So, pay for parking. I think they pay for parking at the moment, don't they? I mean, anyway, let's see what people had to say about this. Let's see. Oh, wow, a lot of chat has gone on. Oh, Mavericks still going on. Oh, there's if it was spelled wrong, yeah. I'd just land on it was a gift. Yeah. It would have to be a reason. Andrew says it would have to be a reason to fix crap. I left a hole. I'll fix that. Yeah. I get you. Left Hand Joe says they spent so much time as a creation. Accept it and thank them. Yeah, absolutely. Although we can't change how other people react. I guess that we're saying, so looking at it, we say people ought to just thank and accept them. And the reason why they ought to is because it's in their best interest to. Because if you want to receive gifts, and I don't know many people that don't want to receive gifts, if you want to receive gifts, then you ought to just thank them and accept it. Because if you start putting conditionality on gifts, those gifts are going to dry up pretty fast. Did somebody else drop left-handed Jedi? You know what? I'll get to it after this because I'm way up in the chat. I will. Boy. No, I can. Yeah, no, I'll definitely get to it. Left-hand Jedi. I see it. You got my wife a readership? Left-handed Jedi. Wow. And Left Hand Joe says the gift there is being an asshole. Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, I kind of agree. Hollyhock says, I'm sorry, but unweaving ends and frogging rows and rows of stitches had hours of work. I don't know what frogging is. I don't even know what that is. I will admit right now on the internet my ignorance of crochet and knitting. I got to admit, Hollyhock, I don't know what frogging is, but considering I can't even describe it, much less do it, it does sound hard. It does sound hard. And look, Logan Fisher says errors add character. I totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I don't know. Maybe you know, there's that. There is an argument that broken things are more beautiful. You know, that is definitely a thing. In all honesty, Deviant says, in all honesty, at first it sounded like a complete arsehole thing to do by the poster, but with context, I get why she did it. She was hurt, and I'd be too. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Deviant says if a friend had paid for it, it could be a different thing. Yes, correct, but it was a gift. She's still focused on a mistake, not carrying what went into making the blanket. It's huge work. I would imagine so, but I can only imagine. I don't know. Let's see. Perps came into the chat. Hollyhock says, someone has crocheted several blankets. I'd be incredibly upset to ask to remake something over cosmetic issues. No, that's fair. That's fair. I think, though, you know, I think, again, I'll just reiterate, you can't change people's reaction. Sometimes we can't even change our own reaction. It does sound like this person has what's commonly known as perfectionism, or in psychology as unrelenting standards. It is kind of crappy to push it on you, but a lot of the time, they aren't really doing it to hurt you. It always feels that way, but they're not doing it to hurt you. They're lacking something within themselves that can accept anything but that perfect thing. And it's really, from knowing people who have had a problem with unrelenting standard, it's a real problem. There is one in religion, which is sort of unrelented standards. It's kind of something called scrupulosity. It means that you're basically trying to pander to these scruples and these rites and religious things that really cause problems. And sort of, so it may not, like, so there's always a tendency to go, well, it's their fault, they're being an arsehole kind of thing. They may not be able to help it, and we don't know if they can. But yeah, I get what you mean. You're still hurt by it, and that's completely valid, Hollyhock. I totally get it. Purple Rums Orange, there is always social pressure to take a gift and act happy about it. Yeah, I mentioned that the other day. I don't know. I get confused about gifting, whether I should take something, shouldn't take something. I just take it and say thank you, and you know, I don't know. I never complain. Like, I guess it's for coming from a low socioeconomic background at one point in my life. You know, I don't, if somebody gives me something, I'm always appreciative. If you've never had anything during your life, you're appreciative for whatever you get. I kind of really think that people should reevaluate something. It's a lot worse when it's a homemade gift. Absolutely. Because like, so here's my thing, and people have said, you know, when people have said, oh, you know, how much do you think it's worth it for you to tell me this or tell me that? So if you're a specialist in something, like sort of I was specialized in distributed networks, like my knowledge is free, right? Like I think that knowledge should be shared for free. There shouldn't be a price tag on knowledge and experience. It should be absolutely free. People's knowledge should be shared because it makes all of us stronger. However, my time is important to me, right? My time is very, very important to me. So while I don't put a price tag on knowledge, I do for my time. That is important to me. So, and knowledge is something that can be easily shared. There's no limit on knowledge. It can be shared through humanity as much as we can, but there is a limit on my time. There's a limit on all of our time. So that is what I put a price tag on. It's just that little switch of, well, I'm happy to share my knowledge, but the time it takes me to teach it to you or share it with you, that is something that is worth something because that is my time. So people putting in their own time is very expensive. Like it is almost precious. So whenever anybody hand makes me something or puts in time to do something for me, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Your daughter crochets. Oh, that's awesome, Jedi. I wish I had the patience and the mind for it. Apart from being on the spectrum, I also have ADHD, which is AUDHD. Now they've categorized in its own. It's not separate. It's kind of just an extra thing for those people with both. So I totally, it's okay. It's fantastic, Jedi. Andrew Christopherson, I'm okay with and want criticism when I make art for a person, but I tend to only make it for someone for purposes to use. Got you. Okay. Yep. 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 So you're more making art for them to use in a practical way rather than just admiring. I get that. That's fine. That's fine. Are you on DeviantArt? That's what I want to know. Most people are on DeviantArt that do art. So Andrew said that did bug me when my ex got art off me just to give it away or use it for other things and not to keep. Yeah, that would be, I would understand if they said, hey, I want an art piece to give to my friend or something. But if they said, hey, I'd like this art piece and, they give it away, I can understand why that would be upsetting. Yeah. Yeah. And Ember's chat. Why don't you give Maverick it's not up to me, right? Is this like a question directed at YouTube in general? Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, it is a joke. Okay. Look, the algorithm hates you. The algorithm gods have looked down upon you and for some reason you have a lot of luck getting free memberships. Look, we all know you sacrifice a chicken and half a goat to the algorithm gods of Google. We all know it, Jay. Don't try to deny it. Don't try to deny it. You absolutely do. It absolutely do. Okay, I think that's about it for the comments on it. I'll see how the poll went. Oh, you guys typed too fast for me to see. I reached a level in my career where my experience and skill set as commodity offered to employers more so than my time, which works great because I'm good at my job and I enjoy lots of free time. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a bit of a different situation. I really think I'm happy to share knowledge. I think that my time in sharing it is very, very, that's important to me. So I totally get that though. I get that. You don't think knowledge knowledge isn't a communal property? We're not communists. Well, I mean, you don't have to be communist to share knowledge. I don't think that's the case. It's just if we're going to succeed as a species, are we really going to keep knowledge to ourselves? And I think we need to succeed as a species. I think that sort of having, I mean, and I get certain knowledge you wouldn't want to, like you want to share with China the latest technology and weapons and things. Of course not. I get that. I'm not sort of saying that. I just, as an idealism, if we are going to survive on this planet, then we have to be able to share the things that allow us to survive pretty without really any sort of requisite quid pro quo, as you were. Now I missed left-handed Jedi. Left-handed Jedi. Google kintsugi. It's the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery using gold. Yes, they literally break pottery and then put it back together with gold. Yep, I'm aware of that one. It looks gorgeous as well. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, so it means golden repair. Or golden joinery. Golden joinery. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I'll just share this. So yeah, this is kintsugi. So it basically, they literally break the pottery and then piece it back together with gold filament, and it looks gorgeous. It kind of is a parallel or a metaphor for, you know, how you get stronger or more beautiful when you have flaws and when you've been broken and repaired. You could look into it a bit, you know. Look into it a bit. Okay, next up, how about poll go? How do you guys vote? I assume that you voted not the arsehole, because I don't know how you could possibly. But thank you so much, Left-Handed Jedi, for $5. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, mate. I really do. And you're right. It's absolutely gorgeous. That is an ad. Well, we're getting the ads early, aren't we? Wow. All right. Yeah. Okay. And here's the thing. We talk a lot about, you know, what it means to be a broken person. I remember Ember did something with the thumbnail saying "I am broken" kind of thing. Like what it means to sort of, the human condition is inherently flawed, and we inherently have these breaks that do occur. All of us experience to some degree some form of, I guess, trauma or at least hardship during our lives. The person that does go through that is stronger in the long run. We are stronger because of our flaws rather than weaker. It's sort of, you know, I don't think there is anybody that is sort of broken in a way that can't be put back together even more beautiful than when they started. So, you know, that's why I love that I didn't know the name of it, but that sort of putting together pottery with gold, it's absolutely gorgeous and, you know, fulfilling. What the poll do? What did my poll come out at? Posted nothing wrong. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay. Next up by Imi Notu. Eme Notu. Am I the arsehole for telling my teenager that they can't have a birthday dinner today as they chose not school because of a rash? What? Because they skipped school because of a rash? I don't know. You're punishing your teenager for having a rash and not going to school? Was it a contagious rash? Like, was it in some sort of dermatitis or something? Because I would understand if you didn't go to school because you could spread it. What? Okay. my first thing says no, but yeah, my teenager turned 16 today. They are also autistic. This morning they came out complaining about a rash from shaving, stating it hurt too much to have air blow on it or cloth against it, and therefore they weren't going to school. So sensory overload is something that happens with autistic people. Sort of things that people don't notice can actually really it can really seem like razor blades to them, or like I sort of have often said that to myself, like a big crowd of talking people can almost feel like a wall of sound, like it really is a lot of noise, and I don't like it. I can sort of push my way through it, but I don't like it. There's too much. It's way too much. I don't know about this. I don't live your kid's experience, but here's the thing: neither does this person. I gave them a few hours and tried again. They still wouldn't go. Gave it a few more hours, same result. Now it's too late to go to school. I told them to text their friends and tell them that the dinner party at mid-price restaurant is off. Now they and their sibling, 21, are calling me an asshole. I feel like if I let them have a dinner out tonight after they called out of school is rewarding a negative behavior. If they were diabetic and had to go to the ER because of low blood sugar, then were released, I still wouldn't let them go out to a dinner. What? If they were diabetic and had to go to the ER because of a low blood sugar, then were released, I still wouldn't let them go out to a dinner. Are you insane? Not that they'd feel up to it then, I'd imagine. So this is me being a good parent or being an asshole? I think he's being an asshole. Edit, I'm still going to give them their birthday card gift tonight. I haven't decided if the makeup dinner would be here at the original restaurant late night. Edit 2, they used to chew collars off their school uniform shirts because they didn't like the feeling of fabric against their neck. So when they showed me that they did indeed have a raised red rash from shaving that was too painful for school, I agreed to let them stay home. I gave them medicated creams, lotion for the rash. I checked in on them several times throughout the day to see if they were feeling better. If the rash is the reason you were staying home from school at 8:30, 11, and 1, then it's also the reason you aren't going to dinner out at 1700. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about this one. I feel like there is something else going on in their lives that they don't want to go to school. I myself would take any excuse to get out of school because school was a hellish nightmare that was, causing me to be at a very dark place where I did want to end it all. So, autistic people in school, you have to be aware that your autistic child may not be finding a place in school, might not be able to communicate it to you, and there might be something else going on. I really do think there's something else going on in the kid's life in this school. Luckily, Australia's just sort of they've just announced a national autism strategy, which is long overdue to be able to address things like this. But it sounds like maybe there's some horrible stuff going on at school and they don't want to go to school. The question is why. The question is why. Maybe talk to their sibling if they're not on the spectrum. Maybe they can explain better. Maybe they're having problems. Maybe they're finding school to be incredibly horrible. I am amazed I survived school, quite frankly. I'm amazed I'm sitting here today. Amazed. I'm incredibly I'm just incredibly surprised that I made it through. because a lot of times I did not plan to. I'll put it that way. Definitely did not plan to. So school for autistic people can be the worst. Let's just call it the worst. So, oh, thank you, Big Bad Mama. Um, from yeah, and yeah, I get you. It's a raised red rash. So a lot of the time it can be that they're having an absolute nightmare of a time, and this is just sort of that one extra thing that they just can't take, kind of thing. So it may be that going out to dinner is not the same as going to school with this one extra thing on their back. They if they're being bullied, for instance, if they're being bullied really hard, something like a small thing like a red rash means they are absolutely petrified to go to school and be bullied for it, because it doesn't matter what it is. Anything that doesn't fit the normal will be bullied under certain situations. So I think that maybe there's something else going on, and I really think that they need to be they need to be sort of addressing this in a very kind and loving way, rather than just saying, "Hey, you're not going to dinner anymore." Let's see what the Reddit is. Oh, actually, I'll do the poll first. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up the order, which is usual. Which is I do it all the time. I mix up the order all the time. That's okay. Let's go. What do we call this? So I'm not necessarily saying that you have to still do the dinner. What I'm saying is that don't just act like, so a lot of the times the parent can say, "Oh, well, you're just being silly, or you're just being lazy, or you're just being whatever." And a lot of the time it isn't what the parent is saying. It's something deeper that is causing this kind of stuff. And I really think that getting down to that is a that's what you should be doing. Canceling the birthday dinner. So I think that trying to work down to what the actual problem is. I don't think laziness is a thing. I think there's lack of motivation. I think there's depression. I think there's all kinds of things. There's anxiety. There's perfectionism. There's all kinds of things that happen. But just not wanting to do something, I don't think that's really a thing. I really don't think so. Look, Maverick, I can't tell you how harmful that is. I just got through talking about unrelenting standards, right? This is a problem because there is no such thing as perfection. This whole thing to do everything perfectly is so harmful. Um, this is what I'm talking about with religion. They have scrupulosity. They have this idea that they've got to maintain this idyllic perfection, or else they're not worthy of anything in some way, right? This is the problem. They will go through these motions of doing these things over and over, and it's almost a form of OCD where they do these religious things over and over and over and over and over, trying to achieve that perfection that they will never get, and the harm it causes to them as they go through this again and again and again and again, trying to get to that point when it's not achievable, when it's not, there's no way to get there, and they find their lives dominated by this stuff. Like, I've talked to these people who feel like every time they do something even slightly wrong, they've got to go through this highly ritualized system of going over and over and over again, trying to get themselves it's so harmful. And you see it all the time. You see people who do wonderful art and wonderful things tear it up or wipe it off their system because it's not perfect. And it is so harmful, this idea that we have to be perfect. So I completely disagree. And, we've got people who are the victims of unrelenting standards. It's not a good thing. It's not. You can argue if you want, but it's not a good thing. And I've got, studies to show it. So, okay. So, Cressidia Cole says, too sick to school, too sick to play. That was my mother's rule when I was a child. I'm in my 40s now and still abide by it. If I'm too sick for work, chores, or obligations, then I'm not going out for dinner either. Yeah, no, I get you. But there might be more going on than why is this autistic guy not wanting? Is it really the rash, or is the rash just the trigger for something else going on? As I pointed out, I think bullying would fit this perfectly. And, knowing that I would say, hey, I don't want to go there because of this thing to my parents, because I was so ashamed of the situation that I was in. The reason why I can understand where he's coming from is because I may have been that kid. Or he just doesn't like school, doesn't like what he's been taught. I get that. But, not investigating it, not finding out what's going on, that's my issue. I'm not saying necessarily give the dinner. I'm saying, why isn't this person finding out why a simple rash? And you might need to communicate to them in their language. Okay, waste worker 6122, not going to school because they have a rash from shaving. Accepting that at face value, there'll be air blowing on at the restaurant, and presumably they would have to wear clothes at the restaurant, so there would also be cloth against it. Cancelling the dinner is in their best interest. Why would they face the same pain at the restaurant that they would have felt at school? Because they don't. That's the whole point. So what is it about the school that is causing something that's not happening at the restaurant? Not the arsehole. Just be sure to reschedule it, the plans for another day. It's not a punishment. It's just saying, you said today you couldn't leave the house, so we'll go when you feel well enough again. Exactly. I've told them to message their friends for another day that works for all of them instead. I still want to celebrate my kid. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that's a good idea, but honestly, not the arsehole, but you should probably try to tell your kids the consequences from the start so they have a chance to make a good decision. I hated surprise consequences. Yeah, that's fair. And look, people on the spectrum do hate surprise consequences. Betting autistic team. Yeah, I'm thinking that way myself. I really am. This is very. I resonate with this. I really do. Growing up, my mum always made my birthday an event where it fell on a school day. I would have a full day with just her to do my favorite things. I never expect my mum to pay for a bunch of my friends' dinner. That's your experience, sure. A soft, you're the arsehole. The consequence for the decision makes sense, but it came up way too late. As others have said, you should have told them, if it's too uncomfortable to school, it sounds like it's too uncomfortable for a birthday party. Yes, I agree. I think it's hard for most people to relate your kid's exact feeling, but I think we can all empathize with the feeling of being too sick for work but not too sick for video games, or an outfit being too uncomfortable for school but worth wearing to a party. It's easier to power through discomfort when it's softened by the comfort of friends or fun. It's harder to power through the discomfort when it's amplified by the hardships of school, and censorship can earnestly be very overwhelming. Correct. That, of course, doesn't make their decision reasonable or rational, and it is behavior they need to work on to navigate through the adult world. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Like that, this isn't to say that, hey, it's all the parents' fault kind of thing. No, absolutely not. They shouldn't be coddled, and it's your responsibility as a parent to call them out on things like that. It's just a matter of letting them know the consequence of decisions instead of surprising them with those consequences. Yes, this right here, this. Tell them up front. Don't just say, well, now you've got to call your friends, and it seems like an arbitrary punishment. I totally agree. I totally agree. The thing that all commenters are getting is autistic sensory issues and stress processing. A very common thing with us autistic folk is a weird pain level scale. Yeah, a lot of bigger pains we don't notice as much. That is true. That is absolutely true for me. I do know there's been a couple of times where I've been swimming in the ocean. I actually came out of the ocean and my wife has said, dude, you're bleeding. And I looked down and just blood is gushing from my arm. I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice. I cut myself carrying a couch once on this metal thing. I did not even notice, quite frankly. Yeah, this is really that is actually 100% true for me. Smaller pains, especially uncomfortable types and sensory ones, can feel bigger because the brain doesn't filter it out as much. When you're in an environment that provides additional stress like school, it further impacts the brain's ability to filter out the background stuff. Stress can literally make pain worse because of how our brains work. If a kid is not regularly called out for low-level pain like this, then when it does happen, it's usually because there was already a higher stress level in place and the current issue is just pushed it past the threshold. When we are doing something like gets us excited or that we have a hyper focus on, then our brains start filtering out more of the other stuff. Positive experience can actually help our brains to function better and let us filter out the constant background stress. Yes, 100%. 100%. This person knows where it's at. Right? You are not an imposter, fragrant imposter. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I did a positive reinforcement experiment on myself as a teen to improve my pain tolerance and lower my reactions to things that upset me or I was scared of. I actively reprogrammed my responses to various stimuli because I didn't like the idea of phobias controlling my life. I was undiagnosed at the time. It took years, but helped, yes. And that's where various tools in psychology is a real benefit. It takes work, but you can change the way your brain operates. We know this. We've studied this for so long. And we're still getting a handle on it. It's still a work in progress, but there are ways you can calm yourself or sort of change the way that you think about things. For regular kid, lessons like the commenters are saying can work well. For an autistic kid, you're teaching them that they'll be punished for having trouble regulating their stress. That could be a negative feedback loop, and he's 100% right. If they do bring it up, then they'll have the positive de-stress events removed, increasing their levels on top of their current ones. This usually causes them to endure stuff that is actively stressing them. In small doses, this is good. However, it's generally not in small doses, and we're very bad at recognizing when it's actively harming us. There's a reason why most of us have massive burnout and trauma issues. Yeah, 100%. We have massive burnout and trauma issues. What seems like regular, normal stuff to an holistic person can be very different from an autistic person. One of the most repeated comments I get from my mum is when I talk about my childhood from my perspective, and she says she had no idea that I thought that way. She was operating entirely on a different set of assumptions on my thoughts, motivations, and logic. And I get that too. Or when my parents were alive, I got that too. They just did not understand the way I saw things. Even when I was grown up and I said, hey, this is the way I saw it, they were absolutely baffled. Autism is a different communication structure and doesn't get the same messages from parents' actions that a different child would. Everyone sucks here. Okay. Looks like the OP replied to that. I include the fact that they are autistic because I get that autism makes response to stimuli be greater for neurotypicals. I get that. I respect it. But how's that different from being in a noisy restaurant that also has air flowing through it? Okay, he explained that. He said that the good things can basically, you get hyper fixated on and you ignore some of the things that would ordinarily trigger you. He already explained that, dude. You didn't read it. OP, you didn't read it. You did not read it. Did not read it. Ugh. Did not read it at all. All right, let's see what you lovely people have to say. Punishment is never good, says Human Girl, in my opinion. Yeah, so yeah, Yeah, I get that. I think that an understanding of consequences is important, whether that's punishment or I get what you're saying, that sort of reward system can be better. I get that, yeah, but at the same time, there has to be some consequences for things. I get that. So I'm kind of on the same page that rewards is better than punishment, but you know sometimes you have to. Um, Jeff says, retired now, thinking back to school in the 70s. I still have no idea what all of it was about. Education. Lol, I just sit still and pay attention to nothing. Yeah, that's interesting because I still remember, like, I still have in my mind lessons that I learnt from school. I actually learnt a lot in school. I just didn't do well. That's all. Don't ask. It's a very weird time in my life. I don't do well in schools and studying and things. I don't do well. I really don't. I learn a lot. I just don't do well. That's all. Figure that one out if you can. We cannot assume that what the back says. We cannot assume the parent doesn't know their kid. No, I get that. No, 100%. But I do know that at least one of my parents didn't know didn't even know how to communicate with me, just had no idea even how to connect with me at all. So the thing about kids on the autism spectrum is that their parents sometimes don't understand them in the slightest bit. And we're not just assuming that. It's sort of, the fact that they're sort of saying, well, I don't understand why it wasn't such a big deal at the restaurant after it's been explained. It kind of is, yeah, it kind of is a big deal, like that when you're doing something that you can hyperfixate on, those sort of distractions and stuff aren't a problem anymore. So take this. Going out to work and working in, say, an open plan office. If you know what an open plan office is, it's just, it's basically desks and stuff are there, but you work out in the open with everybody around you. They use it to encourage teamwork and sort of people helping one another in the business. So open plan offices, standard thing. You're just at a desk, people are around you. There's like pods of maybe 3 people working together. You got the idea. So that's very distracting for me, right? That's incredibly distracting for me. Like, that's a lot of noise. And as I said earlier, noise can be very distracting. The thing was that I would absolutely focus on what it was that I was doing. I overcame that by hyper-focusing on my work. Problem was when my manager called a meeting or wanted everyone to gather round or did something that they needed everybody with them, I wouldn't notice. I wouldn't even know. I would have no idea what anybody around me is saying. Like, we're talking about the kind of hyperfixation that you could say my name, and I wouldn't even notice that you're talking about me. It is a benefit. It is a hindrance. I had to come up with an agreement with my manager that she would tap me on the shoulder if she wanted me to come to a meeting, or alternatively, she could actually just message me electronically, because I would be absolutely paying attention to my messenger. She was an old school manager, wanted to say, hey, everyone gather round, and I just would not even notice. Like, if she thought I was ignoring her purposely, and we had to sort that out. But I didn't know I was on the spectrum at that time, and she didn't understand. So, that's sort of the hyperfixation. Like, he's doing something at the restaurant. He may not even notice somebody stab him with a fork, much less, his collar. But the same may not be true of school. And the question is, why is he not fixed? What is it about school that isn't sort of, triggering that interesting sense? Because the whole thing about people on the autism spectrum is you want to put them in places where that hyperfixation is a benefit, not a hindrance, right? Like, so, one of the best IT supports in that place, and I'm not boasting, I was one of the best IT supports because I would hyperfixate on stuff. It was a massive benefit. but you had to know how to deal with people like that. And my manager didn't. I got pulled up for ignoring her when she called meetings and stuff. And I was just confused and had to tell her, hey, I don't even notice. That's one of the signs that I found out that I was on the spectrum. Purple says, betting autistic teen has told poster they get bullied and parent has been no help. Well, I wouldn't just automatically blame the parent, but maybe, yeah, maybe they are feeling ashamed. Maybe they feel like a lot of the time when I was bullied in school, I felt like it was my fault because I was told it was my fault. So this is the thing you've got to understand about kids with autism, that they are easy to convince of things, because they are generally trusting people. So I was told by my bullies that it was my fault, right? That I brought it on myself for being a weirdo, being strange, being odd, being all of these things. It was my fault. And I actually believed that for a long time. So the sort of the sort of shame that comes along with that, I couldn't tell my parents in such a way that would explain it to them sufficiently, kind of thing. And because they would convince me that all kinds of things. It's very, very harsh, and it's odd, but yeah. I think Humans Girl says, I think our job as parents is prepare them to one day be on their own. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do agree. What the Beck says, that's also an ADHD symptom, Mark. I would know. Yeah, okay. I'm not sure which one. Which one were you talking about? That was the not 100% sure which one you were talking about. Sorry, I missed that. Purple says, I do that a lot. I realize I'm bleeding. I have no idea what happened. Yeah. And it really shocks people around me sometimes. But I do know, though, the worst pain I've ever had was tooth pain. I got tooth pain where I really was just whimpering, like I was whimpering like a child. Something about that was just insanely bad. Had to go to emergency for that. That was terrible. That was terrible. You do not vote as I am not lovely? You're lovely. Come on now. Come on. Purple says, I did well in science, I had clients and math. I had a lot of trouble with most everything else. Nobody knew what autism was in the 70s. Oh, look, I went through in the early 90s and I still didn't get picked up, Purple. I didn't get picked up. It's sort of, I think sort of having high functioning autism is a real problem, because you sort of, people assume that you couldn't possibly have a learning it's sort of that attitude that they used to have, that you're too smart for a learning disability. It's wild, right? Like, it doesn't matter how smart you are, you can still have a learning disability. Yeah, I don't know. What class did I do well in? I definitely did well in politics. I definitely did well in what else did I do well in? Computer science. Yeah, computing. Yeah. Computing. Absolutely computing. Math, I was okay, not too bad. I did well in English as well. I actually did well in English. But when I say well, I mean I understood and learnt a lot of it. My grades probably weren't representative of my what I learnt. I still know, like, how to multiply, how to do quadratic formula, things like that. Like, I still remember all of that stuff. I learnt a lot. I just didn't do well. I'm glad I went through a decent education. I really am. a friend of mine back in Archivox, friend of mine back in school had the same experience. He got the diagnosis after we graduated. Oh, yeah. I wasn't diagnosed with my seizures until I hit my 30s. Grade school was being accused of staring out the window and not having epilepsy. Wow. Yeah. Okay. No, gotcha. Yeah. And that's a neurological issue. It's nothing, nothing wrong with you. Yeah. Friend of mine, same experience. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, look, when I got diagnosed with autism, everybody, I was stunned and surprised. Everybody that knew me went, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." It's kind of like, really? Couldn't have mentioned something? Yeah, it made sense afterwards. Yeah, I got that as well. Like it all made, like when I started learning about what it meant, all these things started to fall in place. It's wild. It's wild. Um, Unapologetically Chris says, my parents had the if you stay home from school, you don't play games rule. They also use chores as a punishment. It's led to me having all kinds of issues as an adult. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I imagine it would. I'm sorry to hear that, Chrissy. That sucks. And I do want to also just reiterate, unrelenting standards is not good. It like sort of trying to be perfectionist is not good. Deviant Outcast says hyperfixation is a trait some people with ADHD has the ability for. I'm one of them, but it has to be something I'm interested in. Well, yeah, I guess me too. I guess, but that's the same with autistic people. Oh yeah, no, I'll see it. I'll see it. Thank you, Deviant. But yeah, I think autistic people have to be interested in it as well. I think. Um, Mark's about half as smart as me. Good job. Yeah, no, you sound extremely modest. I am the most modest person in the world. Like, seriously. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. I am the most. Yep, that'll get your time out, buddy. From me. From me to you. You have no power here, and stop calling like that. That's just an ad hominem. Do you understand what an ad hominem is? Here, have 5 minutes. Goodbye. That's an ad hominem where you're basically attacking somebody for who they are. Don't just come into my chat and make ad hominems. Come on now. Come on now. Don't make me get out the ban hammer, as that will happen, and I've got an emoji for it. What did the poll say? Poster is immoral. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I disagree with most of Reddit. I think that they're not showing enough understanding and trying to find out what the actual problem is. So it's amazing. With one comment, he's both poisoning the well and doing an ad hominem, like, because he's basically saying, hey, that's what I would expect from this type of person, and poisoning the well for the future. Like, anything that you say is not right. Not cool, dude. Seriously. Don't do that. Don't do that. It would be the same if sort of I said, oh, I would expect that kind of thing from a theist. It's just, what? What? No. From me to you. All right. Well, I'm going to do one more and go a bit later. I know I wrapped it up earlier last time because I was feeling a bit sick that day. So I'm going to go a bit longer, if you will, have me. Oh, really? He's better behaved here than many other. Really? Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit preachy, but not too bad. But, you know, when he starts calling people godless heathens, yeah, I draw the line, mate. Like, seriously, that's not cool. That's not cool. How you doing, Shang-Yi? Shang-Yi. Shang-Yi. Okay, and next up is from Resistion. Resisty something. Resistion. Am I the arsehole because I think my daughter should get what she wants for breakfast? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. There's some breakfast cereals out there which are horrendous. Like, Cocoa Pops are like the frigging worst. What are Cocoa Pops on the star rating? We've got a star rating, right? Like, we have this star rating. What is it? Yeah, Cocoa Pops rate like a two health star rating. Like, I mean, they suck. They're terrible. And quite frankly, if you're in America, drove up from Phoenix, yeah, your cereals, man, they are horrific. Like, horrific. They're like sugar in a packet. Cereals, cereal. I can't spell cereals. Like, there's a lot of American foods that are banned in Australia, like just banned outright because it has all these chemicals in it that we don't allow. So yeah, maybe you are an arsehole for giving your daughter what she wants for breakfast. Yes. All right, maybe I overreacted. So everyone seems to want to be called a godless. Okay. Okay. So sorry, I overreacted. Apparently, the chat is berating me for not letting somebody call them godless heathens. So apparently, I am overprotective of my chat. Apparently, so I do apologize to what was his name, Maverick or something. A Maverick being Frank. All right, sorry, Frank. Apparently, they want to be called godless heathens. You bunch of freaking godless heathens. Are you happy now? Are you happy now? Honey Smacks was more than half sugar, really? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's have a look at it and see what they've got to say. I think I'm coming down on no. My female. Oh, my female. They're a 44-old female, and their dad's 68. 68. Yes. Has always been frugal. His frugality has served him well. He has a beautiful home, saving. He's been retired for over 10 years, multiple rental properties, etc. Look, okay, so here's the thing about no, Jay. He just got timed out, mate. It's just a 5-minute timeout. It's nothing huge. He was just calling people godless heathens. But apparently they want to be called godless heathens, and you're a godless heathen, Jay. So there you go. Everyone's apparently that's fine now. All right. Chat, you're just chat. You're killing me. But that is true. He was being a bit of a dick. I got you. So frugality. Okay, so living within your means. I don't have a problem with people living lavishly, but living lavishly when you can't afford it, that's the problem. And I think that sort of it's people's choice. I try to save money. I try to put money aside. I try to do all of that kind of thing. But I think that the only problem is if you're living outside of your means. You're living outside of what is within your means. Should we time Mark out? Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hold on. I'm timed out. Yeah, no, time me out. Absolutely. Look, I probably deserve it for something. If not that, absolutely something. Yeah, no, me too. Absolutely. So he's retired for over 10 years, multiple rental properties, etc. Recently, my daughter, 15, and I drove up from Phoenix to visit him over the weekend. Typically, my dad cooks breakfast every morning on this particular morning. He didn't feel like it and told us we were going out to breakfast. This is a little unusual since he does not like to eat out due to the expense. Okay, so he's getting older and he doesn't want to cook. Okay. He took us to a local diner type place and we all ordered. My daughter ordered the chicken fried steak. Chicken fried steak for breakfast? Okay, that's a little much. Wow, isn't that like just a ton of cholesterol? Chicken fried steak for breakfast. I have not heard of such a thing. I heard my dad mumble something like the things you order. I thought he was referring maybe to the portion size since my daughter is so small, but it didn't seem like a big deal at the moment. When we all ate, you can't be that hungry. We both said thank you before and after our meal and were very appreciative. Later on that day, while I was cleaning out his refrigerator, my dad says, I can't stand it anymore. Okay, so he's not said something, resentment has built up, and the dad explodes. He gets out of his recliner and comes into the kitchen with us. He then goes into how our lack of manners needs addressing. Okay. He has this rule of etiquette that says if someone invites you to a meal out, you should never order anything more expensive to the person that's paying. I've not heard that rule. Is this a rule? Sounds like a guideline to me. I don't really. What? I think it's rude to put that responsibility on a guest. Of course, moderation in all things, for instance. I think it's rude if someone took out to dinner and they order a bunch of drinks for themselves and an outrageously priced meal, but this was a chicken fried steak at a diner, not a magnum of champagne. Yeah, I kind of agree with her. It's I mean, I was sort of in the place like, well, I honestly think that a chicken fried steak for dinner is going to get you frigging overweight. But no, he doesn't care about the kid's health. He cares about his own wallet. Well, the question is why? Okay, so obviously he's frugal. Maybe he's a boomer. He's went through the post-war sort of, putting money aside, and he's, but if he had a problem, he should have said something at the time. And the question is why it didn't. How weird. How weird. That's strange. So don't forget that I sincerely believe that anger isn't actually a primary emotion. It's a secondary reaction to fear or pain, one of the two. So the question would be, what is he afraid of? And that's sort of like, this isn't about the dinner. This is about maybe he has expenses piling up. Maybe he is worried about his finances. Maybe he thinks that, people are going to be ordering more or pay. He's going to be paying for more than he can. So I doubt this is just a, one state kind of thing. So yeah. I doubt it. You know what? I think I'm gonna vote for your like, the poster is the arsehole, but not for why you think. I think they're morally bankrupt by letting their child eat a fat laden gravy dripped monstrosity for breakfast. I mean, I'm looking at this thing and holy crap. Who has steak for breakfast? Deep fried steak for breakfast? What is this nonsense? What's the nutrition on this thing? 29 grams of fat. What? No. So I'm gonna go for morally bankrupt for just allowing a kid to, you know, devour an adult-sized steak. How old is she? 15? Holy crap. Holy crap. Let's see. I will get the poll organized. Sorry about that. I will just get this in and say maybe the question can be, should the poster let let their, I don't know their gender, their daughter have steak breakfast, chicken fried steak breakfast. I don't know. I mean, look, I get that adults may decide to do it and all that kind of thing, but obesity is such a massive problem in the US. Hell, it's a massive problem in Australia as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm certainly not sort of pointing fingers and saying, hey, you know, I think healthy eating habits have to be started young, or it's a lot easier to start them young. You know what I mean? Like, it really is a lot easier to start your kids eating right at a young age. You know, just, I'm not saying you have to like be a health guru. I'm just saying maybe not have steak for breakfast is a good idea. Maybe a bit of moderation in that one. But you know, I still think that they're fine for, you know, I mean, if it was, you know, egg, I mean, I like eggs Benedict for breakfast, right? Eggs Benedict is fantastic. Don't do it all the time. Just occasionally. Oh yeah, it was a woman. I didn't notice that. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So fit squirrel. But you know, I mean, if the eggs Benedict was more than what the person who was paying ordered, I don't like. Well, that's not a thing. There's got to be something else going on with this grandpa. Either they're just having a, you know, man yells at cloud episode, or you know, they're just worried about their finances and taking it out on your daughter. Like, what is that? Like, taking it out on you, that you're worried about your finances? Come on, buddy. You've got to be honest and sort of say, hey, you know, I'm really worried about my finances, and when she bought that, it seemed like it seemed a bit too much for me, kind of thing. And then talk about it. Have a talk about it, you know. Okay. Fitzquirrel says, not the arsehole, unless you order a steak and lobster or something ridiculous like that. Being a few bucks more than the payer is fine. I would not go out to eat anymore with him, or I'd just pay for myself from now on. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Proud Increase 7019 says, frankly, I would tell your father that if you cannot afford the extra $5 or so, then you'll pay for the meals out. If he has cost restrictions for his treat, then it's not a treat, or it should have been made known beforehand. He should assume what it means. Okay. Yeah, no, I kind of dislike that thing, but never mind. Enable category 7978. Not the arsehole. You should never order anything more expensive than the person that's paying. If your father is such a stickler for manners, I'd wager that when ordering, he defers to let women at the table order first, or at least as the seating arrangement allows, but still letting a woman at the table orders first. In which case, that would they know that the supposed price limits will be? Well, I don't know. You'll find a mixed bag in that kind of thing. You'll find the women first guys, and you'll find the guys that are like, well, the men are more important, kind of thing. So I think that's a bit of an assumption that I wouldn't assume, to be honest with you. I just wouldn't. It is true that common etiquette would be that you don't order the most expensive thing on the menu when being treated. This is a dinner, not a fancy steakhouse. I can't imagine the price spread is that great between a chicken fried steak versus an omelette. Yeah, probably not. If someone else is paying, I always try not to go overboard. But with that said, a chicken fried steak at a diner is a standard meal, and I wouldn't necessarily expect a 15-year-old to even think about it as it's her grandfather taking her out. Very strange. It is. It is, and that's why I think it's something else, not just that particular thing. I'm going back to my dad's house this weekend. If it comes to it again, am I the arsehole? Don't understand. You're asking if you're an arsehole if your dad brings it up again? No, if your dad chooses this specific topic on conversation, that would not make you an arsehole. Okay, yeah, no, I think they understand. Look, if he's got this rule kind of thing, just basically go, well, you know, I'll pay for it if it goes over yours. You know, like if she wants. Okay, so if you're fine with her having like a monster steak for their breakfast, which I have questions and worries on that one, but if you're fine with that, you know, and your dad is like, well, it's more than what I'm paying, then just say, hey, well, if it goes over, I'll pay for it. That's fine. Your dad has a weird sense of etiquette. What she ordered is perfectly fine. It's not like she ordered the most expensive items on the menu. What I want to know is how he has been your father for over 40 years and is just now saying what he feels like is proper etiquette. Yeah, well, she mentioned that he doesn't eat out a lot because he doesn't like to pay for stuff. So, wow. All right. Wow. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay. What do you little chickens have to say in chat? I do notice the argument going on in chat. I've decided to allow it because it's actually funny. I always find people that sort of have to blow their own horn, as it were, to be funny. It's very funny. A lot of it reminds me of, you know, there was that scene from Game of Thrones where he goes in and goes, "I am the king," and that guy says, you know, no king has to say they're the king. But you know, so whenever somebody is boasting about their own prowess or boasting about how good they are or boasting about their own certitude of something, it's usually something called inversion or you know, most commonly known colloquially as overcompensation. You know, so yeah. Oh, it's good when I say it. Oh, you godless heathens. There you go. What is a chicken? You know, I was the same. I had to look it up. Apparently, it's a steak that is sort of either deep fried or shallow fried, which is horrific. Like a steak is a large meal, and then, you know, you deep fry or shallow fry it in oil. That is more batter. It's not a healthy meal. I'll give you that one. It's not. Be hungry, lol. Yeah, human girl, she must be. I don't know how hungry though. Wow. Wow. Hearty Midwestern American meal. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought Midwesterners only ate corn and that was it. I thought they just ate corn, like so cornflakes. Cornflakes is what I imagine Midwesterners to eat. Look, what do you have for, like, throw what you have for breakfast in there on average day. I generally I eat something called sultana bran. I really love it. It's just a cereal that's bran and sultanas. That's it. That's my go-to for breakfast. Sometimes my wife is feeling really nice and is amazing and makes pancakes occasionally, which is really cool. Sometimes we have porridge, which is, if you're unfamiliar with porridge, it's an English thing and Australian and Canadian. It's basically oats, basically just crushed oats that's been heated up, mixed with milk and made into basically a paste. And then you put a bit of honey on it. Beautiful, really, really nice kind of thing. Yeah, really nice. So, you know, And if, like I said, if I'm going out or something, if I'm, having breakfast at a cafe or whatever, do you guys have cafes? I'm not sure if you have cafes. I'll have like a eggs Benedict, or maybe, maybe, maybe waffles, I guess, if I'm feeling very, intercontinental or something. Maybe waffles, maybe. Um, yeah, that's probably about it. I'm, I cannot think of a time where I've had a steak for breakfast. That's insane. No, no, chicken steak isn't just grilled chicken. No, it's battered steak that's been deep or shallowed fried, which is just, and then this sort of gravy poured on it. So yeah. Deviant Outcast says, I've recently found to my surprise that there's Americans who think it's a bad thing to want food to be naturally sourced. What? Oh, yeah, organic food. Famously bad for you. What are they talking about? There's stuff they put in their food that would not make it into another country's food. It's this. So it seems like food standards in the US, and this is just sort of me commenting on what I see. It may not be the case, but it seems to be so you've got two things in computing as far as permissions and access levels are concerned. You've got whitelist and blacklist. So it seems like, so the way they work is that whitelist is everybody's isn't allowed until they're on the list, and then they're whitelisted, they can get on. Blacklisted is everybody's allowed, and if they and then certain people aren't allowed, right? So for instance, we use blacklisting here in YouTube, right? So you're in the chat, everyone can come into the chat. If I ban you, you're then put on a blacklist, basically. So that's the way these two things work. It seems like that chemicals in food in America is like a blacklist, right? Everything's allowed, and if it has a problem, something's put on the list and taken out. Other countries mostly use like whitelisting, like you have to show that your chemical is innocuous or not harmful before it actually gets in there. There's a long list of things that we can't have in our food, and Americans can. It's wild. It's wild to me. Yeah, just saying. Sounds like he didn't expect the meal to cost that much. Yeah, no, I get you, but there's ways you can approach that and say, hey, I didn't expect it. It's kind of, we've built up this sort of almost a shame spiral for people to say, hey, I'm not doing well financially. It's not cool. And maybe is, maybe, yeah. Don't know. You eat steak for breakfast once a week? Oh, mate, I don't know what to say to that. Is it like chicken fried steak or whatever? Because yeah, like I get if it's something lean, sure, I can possibly let you get away with it. But like if you're talking about like a flank steak or something, what are you doing? Seriously, that's not a breakfast thing. That's not a breakfast thing. Actually, Hollyhock says we also shouldn't discount how much a 15-year-old girl can pack away. It's not just boys that have huge growth spurts. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I still think that, that is a good point. That is a good point. Kids do use a lot of energy and stuff like that, but I think you can get the same amount of calories without the fats and things like that. I think that maybe just going for something a bit like I really want kids to eat healthier. You order a steak and eggs at my local breakfast restaurant once a week. Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Look, you can eat however you want. That's fine. That's fine. I just personally think if it was my child, I would be teaching them to eat healthier. That's all. Um, uh, Steak breakfasts of all sorts are common at American diners. Okay, interesting. I'm not even sure. Steak breakfast. Could I even get that if I wanted it? I don't think I could even get that if I wanted it. Maybe? Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. That's interesting. Probably if I knew where to go, maybe I've got no real wish to. Human Girl says, unless he sits and does nothing all day, a big breakfast is good fuel, but not every day. Yeah, that's true. It's probably once off is, yeah, I'm probably being a bit too harsh. Yeah, it's just once off. Chicken fried steak is on the breakfast menu at Cracker Barrel, says Christy. Okay. I don't know what Cracker Barrel is. Is that a restaurant of some sort? Is that, I mean, you say Cracker Barrel, and I feel like it's just a place giving out crackers and cheese and stuff, like a cheese tasting place or something. I don't know that. I don't know what that is. Left-handed Jedi. Sadly, I'm not condoning bad behavior. Bad food is much cheaper and healthy. Yes, absolutely. No, I get where you're coming from. I totally get where you're coming from. Absolutely, and it's definitely a problem. Especially things like fast food is cheaper. It sucks. It really does suck. It annoys me. Especially things like people do want to be vegan and stuff. Like vegan substitutes cost a fortune. I think that if vegans were serious about a large section of the population being vegan, they've got to get those costs down. They have to. It's so expensive. So yeah, Hooligan says the steak and eggs is normally the most expensive item on the breakfast menu. Yeah, I mean, I suppose so, but would you have a problem with your granddaughter getting it for breakfast? This right here. All right, comment of the day goes to Human Girl. First world problems. Absolutely. And I think that's something we've all got to pay attention to. Like, as we're discussing, whether it's appropriate to give somebody a steak for breakfast, there's people who just want food, and 100%. I give comment of the day to Human Girl. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, at the moment, there's people with third world problems. They're if you're homeless, if you're got no water because you're in California at the moment. And again, I've pinned charities that you can give to up the top if you do want to support our fellow humans who are suffering through bushfires. Yeah, this kind of thing, like we're arguing about, but I get it, Human. Most of these are first world problems. I mean, when you start to argue whether you should return a dress, or is it right to send back a gift? Yeah, they're all first world problems. I totally get it. High metabolism meets lots of food. Yep. Oh, look, when I was younger, I used to be able to eat all kinds of things with no consequence whatsoever. High metabolism absolutely rules. But yeah, no, you get older, your eating habits either A, have to change, or you will pack on a ton of weight. That are the options. Or you might be doing something that is incredibly high exercise, but not a ton of people have a lot of time for that. Apparently, the nut farms in California are using a lot of water. Yeah, I get you. I get you. Yeah. Sanjay saying we do porridge if you want something like cereal. Yeah, I like porridge. I think it's great. A lot of people don't like it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. It's a big thing in the Midwest. Oh, that's cool. Is porridge a big thing in the US? I thought you had like biscuits and grits, or is that Southern? I'm trying to pander to the Americans. You've got me. Honey or salt? Yep, right, bang on. The man knows. Oh, you sent me an image of it? Okay, all right. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's not that big. That's not that big. Look, I've seen bigger. I've seen bigger. That's not what I'm thinking of with a steak. Can I share it? Do you mind if I share it? Touch of Mapes in the Pride. You can, yeah, we can, but it's horrendously expensive, to be honest with you. So I usually avoid it. No, I prefer honey. I do. I appreciate it. Anarchic Fox. I do like honey. We get this really nice locally made Western Australian honey. It's really good. Like it's really good. The Bears got it right. Fat for the winter and sleep it off till spring. Well, actually, we do the same thing. We put on weight during the winter. Like we're actually we kind of do the same thing. All mammals do. We stack on weight. Um, you have to eat chicken fried steak with white gravy and mashed potatoes. Drool. Look, one day I'll try it and I'll probably change my mind completely and completely do a 180 kind of thing and say, hey, no, I was wrong all along. I can imagine that. Look, if I ever make it to America, I promise to try chicken fried steak with white gravy and mashed potatoes. All right, I promise I will. Compare US Fruit Loops to Canadian Fruit Loops. I'm not sure I want to. um, Look, just saying, US, if California, Oregon, Washington State, if you want to join Canada, it would be awesome. Um, so apparently, Fruit Loops in the US contain artificial dyes: red 40, yellow 5, blue 1, and yellow 6. In Canada, they have, for the coloring, they have concentrated carrot juice, concentrated watermelon juice, and anthocyanin for color. Ingredients in the US: Fruit Loops contain artificial dyes and preservative BHT in the US, which is linked to cancer. Yeah, so apparently Fruit Loops in the US give you cancer. Look, this is just what I'm reading. I don't know if that's true or not. Um, I have no idea. Fruit Loops contain sugars, whole grain flour, wheat flour. Yeah, so at that point, is that even food? Like seriously, uh, yeah, Hooligan says, I don't know what that white stuff is, but it's not gravy. Yeah, I think it is a gravy. It's just sort of a sort of white sauce kind of thing. Um, Austin says, here's where I currently stand on GMO versus organic. Look, it's fine if you don't want to eat GMOs yourself, but GMOs are going to end world hunger. So maybe don't recklessly sow paranoia about them. Okay, so there's two different topics here, Austin, because GMOs are genetically modified. They're not what we're talking about. We're talking, with what who did it? Yeah, Anarchic Fox was talking about was chemicals and preservatives and additives to the food. Like, I think that they've sort of been overlapped, and we kind of think about them in the same way. And I don't think that's the case. Just because you have genetically modified, like corn to resist frost, or something modified so it grows more and more of it, kind of thing, it doesn't mean that you have to add the chemicals to it to preserve it, or the chemicals to it to ward off things. In fact, one can work against the other. Like, you can genetically modify, say, a produce to be more resistant to pests and things, rather than spraying it with chemicals to kill the pests. So They're two different things. And yes, I agree that they're conflated a lot, and things like that. Yeah, and I agree. It's easy to be picky about them when you're not starving. I don't have a problem with GMOs. I never said I did. My problem is with the additives that they put in the food, especially in the US. They're terrible. Um, and I guess my problem is also with um, you know, people not eating healthy, I guess. But that's their concern. It's not for me to tell them to stop. I just want to at least try to eat healthier. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I try. I eat salads. I try to eat a bit healthy, get some of that folate in my diet, get some more nutritious stuff in my diet. I'm certainly not perfect, but I try. I think it's okay if you just try. Um, profits before all else, especially before safety. Yeah, that's how I feel. I may be wrong, but that's how I feel, Andrew, which is sort of, yeah. Purple Rhymes Blonde Rich. If it were my child, I'll be teaching them to eat the rich. We don't mean that literally, Purple. That's not literally. Yeah, capitalism. Absolutely. You can get a steak and eggs at any casual eater in the US. Is this Cracker Barrel I hear of? How dare you, Cracker Barrel? Um, Hooligan says, I don't find fast food to be cheaper anymore. Yeah, it depends, I guess. It depends. I think like so knowing like sort of if you want a large meal like a steak and stuff, that's going to cost a lot. Like that's not cheaper. But if you find stuff that you can make that is cheap and affordable but healthy, I think that's the way to go. And I think you're right, Hooligan. You can certainly eat cheaper than fast food, but if you want large meals, I don't think they're cheaper. I think that sort of, if you're making steaks and things, that can be really expensive. But currently, with the price of living, it's insane. So yeah, imagine being a vegan; it would cost a fortune. Really, it's the substitutes that cost a fortune. Like it really does. I'm not sure, like, because I mean, vegetables are certainly not as expensive as meat, but I don't eat a lot of meat anyway. So, I yeah. Um, with the lack of healthcare affordability, you'd think food standards would be higher in America. Yeah, and this is the problem. It's kind of the government don't regulate. People get sick by things that are added to their products by corporations wanting to make money. And then, who picks it up? The healthcare industry, where they make even more money off people. It almost seems like the well-being of people, as said before, the well-being of people um, is a problem. Yeah, it's sort of if you're sacrificing well-being to make money, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Um, First world problems equals transgenderism. What? How did you get that? What kind of non sequitur world are you from? No, that's not a first world problem because the rates of self exit of people who have this problem and are going through that is very high. No, that's exactly wrong. That's exactly wrong. No, your comment was stupid and uneducated and just really terrible. Like, what are you talking about? Uh, what the hell? No, it's a place where people get their crack from a barrel. Oh, okay. All right, that's a vivid image. That's a vivid image. Okay. Wow. Cracker Barrel blows goats. Okay, the great Cracker Barrel debate in the chat today. Is it like just one of those chain restaurants like what have I heard of? Denny's? Is it Denny's that I've heard of? Is it like that kind of thing? Is sending back a gift worse than regifting? I don't know. I honestly don't know, mate. I have no idea. No, please share. Okay. Okay. I'll see if I can share. Oh, it's zoomed in a bit. Hold it, I'll zoom out a bit. All right, there is the thing. See, that is not a huge stake, right? That's just a portion. That's a very small portion. Like if that's not massive, I guess. I'm not too worried about that one, I guess. You know, I'm not too worried about that. It's a 6-ounce steak and the whole meal is 15 Canadian. Okay. You'll smuggle me sometime next time I get the chat. Yeah, sure. Get that through Australian biosecurity. That'll go. Yeah, sure, mate. Australian biosecurity will not be impressed. Do share in case it wasn't clear. Yeah, you're cool, mate. You're cool. Well, says your body uses more energy to maintain its temperature than it does walking or running. Yeah, absolutely. It's why for losing weight, cardio isn't even that good. Don't get me wrong, cardio is important for your heart, for your just general fitness, things like that. But it's not actually good for losing weight. Weightlifting, actually using muscle, is a lot better, as far as I know. That's my opinion. I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian or a physical trainer, but that's what I think. Austin says, I love chicken fried steak, but only for breakfast. Why breakfast? I prefer just a nicely cooked medium rare steak any other time of the day. For breakfast? Okay. So Klebold. Oh, Sandra left? Wow, that was shorter than I imagined. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, it doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me in the slightest. I mean, we all know he's abusive. Purple Orange says, Minnesota, please take Minnesota. I don't know what doesn't Minnesota. Oh, that's like next to Wisconsin. What's the problem with Minnesota? I don't know the problem with Minnesota. Due to food stands, we use fruit juice as colorant and flavor additive. Yeah, that's Canada. Yeah. And apparently it tastes better according to people. So, I don't know why they use it at all in America. Yeah, we all know she can do much better. Absolutely. All right, Purple says a lot of processed food in the US contain additives that are banned EU. Yeah, and Australia and Canada, like sort of everywhere. It's interesting. All farming is in some form of genetic modification. You know what? You're not wrong. So even selective breeding or artificial selection is a genetic modification. So you're not wrong. But I think when we're talking GMOs, we're really talking about human, like direct genetic modification, like CRISPR kind of thing. So yeah. Of course he will. Look, he's such a narcissist. He has to be in, it's never his fault. It's not his problem. He's the best there is around. He's the best and most awesome person. We all expect this. It's just narcissism. We see it a lot. We've been seeing it a lot in chat, narcissism. It's crazy. My problem with GMOs is the corporate structure around them. Yes, Hollyhock, correct. Monsanto making Terminator seeds is an affront to everything. So if you're not aware, Monsanto is a horrific company with a terrible background of doing awful things. They made seeds to give to farmers that will produce a crop once, and all of the seeds that the crop produces are infertile, right? So they're basically made seeds, so you've got to come back to the company to buy more. And that's horrific. That is awful. Like, because it means that the farmer can't keep growing and selectively breeding their own crop. It's basically taking our usual artificial selection out of it. It's horrendous. So that is disgusting. GMOs are good, except they force you to source the replacement seeds. Yeah, exactly. Virtually everything we eat now is GMO, not necessarily made in lab, but through selective breeding. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I gotcha. Patenting food through GMO and crop practice is a problem, not the actual. Yes, I agree. Them being able to patent a certain genetic thing and nobody else can use it. In fact, I heard that once that a corporation sold these GMO seeds, and they actually, like, some got into a neighboring farm's yard, and they sued the person for having their crop but not buying it. And it's like, well, I didn't even plant it. It's your seeds. It's crazy. My steak and eggs cost $1 less than a Big Mac meal in Canada. Really? Big Mac meals cost like $16 Canadian? That's insane. What? Really? Is that like supersized or something? Okay. I can say that is not the case over here. I don't think so. No, definitely not. Okay, that's weird. Is this maybe Canada has tariffed Big Macs? Is that what's happening? The revenge tariff included Big Macs? That would drive them crazy, the replacement shit. Yeah. That's an argument that's been going on. Having a corn allergy. Yeah, they put corn syrup in everything, and corn syrup is horrible. Stop putting corn syrup in everything. Purple says healthcare isn't the problem as much as insurance industry pushing up health costs. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, Purple. No, nobody's arguing that. Like, absolutely. Who are you calling a banhammer for? Who's the banhammer for? Who am I banning? The Shite Food feeds privatized healthcare hard cold cash in the US. Yeah. Oh, he's just trolling. Okay. Cracker Barrel did start as a place that only sold cheese, but now it's a restaurant chain. Oh, there you go. All right. Well, I guess so. My sort of first gut reaction on what they do is actually kind of correct. It's bottom of the barrel, a different one. Crack Barrel. Looks like you've converted somebody. That looks like you've converted somebody. Yeah. So I think that if I went to America, I would want to eat proper Mexican. Like proper Mexican. We don't have a lot of really good Mexican restaurants here. Strangely enough, like not being. We've got really good like Japanese and Chinese and stuff like that. Like really, really good. Really good Indian restaurants, part of the Commonwealth, et cetera, but not Mexican, because we're so far from Mexico. I would really like to have like proper Mexican, because tacos are so good, and chimichangas and all of that stuff is so good. He was probably having like young people rub his feet again. Just saying. Just saying. So this you just don't learn, do you? You don't learn. Why is it that you don't learn? So this kind of stuff, this show just drips ignorance, because the person that came up with the wolf hierarchy, alpha and beta and stuff, he was talking about wolf hierarchy. He was not actually talking about human hierarchy. So this one's going up to 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And it's going to get longer. It's going to get longer. So the guy that made up that wolf hierarchy, it's been applied to humans, where humans are not wolves. They're not a caniform species. Humans are more directly related to chimpanzees, which actually do have a matriarchal hierarchy. But, you know, gorillas, which are the next closest, again, have a patriarchal hierarchy. So, you know, really we're kind of in a place where we're having something applied to caniforms, applied to us, which I don't know why you would do that. And two, the guy that actually did that hierarchy said he was actually very wrong about the hierarchy. So sort of just on that level, like I dislike people using it because they don't even understand it. So sorry, Jay, I'm going to have to time out your little sparring buddy there for being a douchebag. Oh, well, yeah, but that Uber Eats, it's going to be different. Come on now. Come on. If you Uber Eated the steak and stuff, it would cost more. Come on now. The United States overinvested in corn. Well, you know, there's no reason to put all of it in damn frigging food. Like, corn syrup is just so bad. Oh, you're just trolling the Banhammer? Well, I mean, you got your wish. You got your wish. Hey, Nitty. Hey, Nitty. Careful, Austin. You don't want to let the big corn. Yeah, and it's weird that there's a big corn. There's literally a corn farmers association that tries to, get and lobby for corn syrup. It's crazy. Proper Mexican or Tex-Mex? They're very different things. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I have had Mexican. I do like it. It's just I don't like, people talk about it being the best thing ever, and I haven't had something that's good. So I think proper Mexican. I think maybe both. Why not both? I'll try both. Why not? Yeah, let's do it. We have Yum, Chinese, Indian. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know how to tell if you found a true Mexican restaurant? Check the bathroom. Most of the graffiti is in Spanish. You found a good one. Yeah, we don't speak a lot of Spanish over here. I got to admit, you're not a fan of tamales? The Brett love spice read the texture. Yeah, hey, texture means a lot. Like, hey, don't discount texture. There's definitely problems with texture of some stuff. Sorry, Jay, I have timed out your friend. Yeah, it's a myth that wolves are alpha and beta. Yep. It's actually a myth. Actually a myth. So what you're saying, the guy self-possessed genius doesn't know what he's talking about. Shocking. Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. Well, in fairness, if bees go, we all go. Like, bees are integral to our very survival. Smart thing not finishing that one, Mark. Don't want big corn picking up on their radar. Yeah, no, I get you. Big corn. But seriously, they got to stop dumping corn syrup and everything. It's one of the problems that is leading to this obesity crisis, and they dump it in everything. It's wild. It's wild. Yeah, let's see how the poll did on that one. Let's see how all you little rapscallions and little heathens did on that one. The poster did nothing wrong. You know, I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I think that the poster sort of just deciding a punishment rather than addressing the problem. I wish they would have more of an understanding. Look, you can disagree. I totally get it. You know, totally understand. I'm certainly not telling you how to parent. I just think that they should have done something different. They ought to have addressed the problems with school rather than just saying, hey, it's your, you know, you get to punished because of what you're saying. Yes, rapscallion, absolutely. Please, by all means, people will think you're English, but that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, so that is the aimbot. Oh wow, I've almost gone 3 hours. Okay, well, I did want to do a longer one because I did cut it short last week. So yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. It does make me absolutely horrified at the cost of insulin for people over there. It horrifies me. They don't have to do that. They don't have to mark up to that degree. It's, you know, incredible. But yeah, oh yeah, hyenas, but I don't think hyenas are a caniform. I believe they're a feliform. Yeah, hyenas are a feliform, so they are more of a cat than a dog. Fun fact. Another fun fact. The leader of a hyena pack is female, and they have a pseudo penis. Yes, they have a fake penis. Yep, absolutely right. They're a feliform. Actually, more like a cat. And fun fact, the Tasmanian tiger, which is now extinct, but they might be bringing it back, is more like a kangaroo. It's more of a marsupial. Wild. Absolutely wild. All right, peeps. Well, that has been the aimbot. It's been really fun. I'm sure Jay in the chat has had a fun old time arguing with Captain Genius, which is hilarious. But I hope you've had a fun time. I've had a wild time. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back next week with another aimbot. Coming up, I am going to be over on Ways to Human on Saturday. That will be a thing. That's a channel I met on the the Daily Atheist Morning Show. So yeah, I'll be over on that on my Saturday or your Friday night. Yes, your Friday night. I will be back on this channel for Friday, which is Fundamentalist Fails. And you know, I saw something on Simon Dan that I couldn't believe, and I'm really going to have to dig out the video and go through it because wow. Oh, so Justin will be on Ways to Be Human the weekend after. Oh, that's fantastic, Justin. Awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. That's fantastic. So yeah, Ways to Be Human. I hadn't heard of them, met them. Really cool. Really awesome. So yeah, I'll be over on that. I will post in my community section, so do keep an eye on that, and I'll post where I'll be. because I might have a couple of things coming up. But for the moment, be kind to yourself. Yeah. Don't like we were talking about perfection before. Nobody's going to get to perfection, and you shouldn't strive for it. You should strive for self-actualization, right? So what's the difference between self-actualization and perfection? Well, self-actualization is being the best version of yourself you can be, right? But that doesn't mean it's perfection, right? It doesn't mean you don't make any mistakes. What we strive for is to be a version of ourselves that we are proud of, and well, not proud of, but we can be confident that this is the best I can do, and it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. Just be yourself and be the best version of yourself you can be, and that's okay. That's totally cool. But also be kind to others, because they're trying to be the best version that they can be. And if you're kind to them, it'll probably give them a chance more than sort of just cracking down on them. Stop being a charlatan. What? A charlatan? A charlatan? What am I charlating over? Wow. Okay, give me 1 sec. Wow. Strive for perfection. No, I will strive to be the best me I can be, and that's enough. And that is always enough. That's just not enough. I'm okay with not being perfect. I'm fine with that. In a lot of ways, neurotypical people are way bettering. Oh no, I'm just trying to find the block button. That's all. Like can we have some ban hammers in the chat, please? Can we have some ban hammers in the chat? Oh yeah, I'll put you in timeout. There's 30 minutes. Next time it's going to be 24 hours. No, I'm fine. Like I don't want the responsibility of being perfect. That is a recipe for disaster, as you will go around in circles with nothing ever being good enough. It's not a healthy way to be. Yeah, no, I'll ban him out for 30 minutes, but if he arcs up again in any other stream, I'll ban him. But yeah, do be kind to others, but be kind to yourself. Be kind to others, but don't let them call you charlatans or, hassle you and things like that. Why bother? I don't. It's so weird. Anyway, take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.